Join us and discover beautiful beaches, rugged landscapes, pretty towns, desolate mountain ranges that sweep down to stunning lakes, unique architecture, history and folklore, no shamrocks, no shillelaghs, and definitely no shenanigans, just naked Ireland. This long, attractive walkway takes us to one of Ireland's most important sites. In fact, it's no exaggeration to say that this video covers one of the world's most important archaeological sites. It's arguably as important as the pyramids of Egypt and certainly more ancient. We are of course visiting Newgrange in County Meath today, a prehistoric monument on the banks of the River Boyne. And what we're about to see today dates from 3,200 years before Christ. Yes, you heard that right, that's older than the pyramids of Egypt and Stonehenge. Newgrange is what we call a passage tomb, but in fact it's one of 3 passage tombs in the River Boyne complex. And we've arrived now at the very impressive visitor centre, which will be a key point on our tour. The building itself is pretty amazing, a kind of brutalist concrete architecture with a grass roof. But it's well bedded into its gorgeous surroundings, and I think it's a lovely starting point for our adventure today. So in we go. A main feature of your Newgrange tour will be the visitor centre. You have to get the provided shuttle bus out to the prehistoric site itself, so while you wait for the bus, or indeed after you've visited Newgrange if you'd prefer, you could walk around the exhibition. And the exhibition is really good, and my advice is that you go around it before your visit to the monument, because it'll give you all the background information that you need to really understand Newgrange, its history and its importance. Not to mention great photos on show, like this one of a well-dressed Victorian lady and her daughter visiting the tomb in the early 1900s. Though the site hasn't always been a world-renowned tourist attraction, as you can see. But as I mentioned, the exhibition here is not only atmospheric, but such a great primer for a trip to the monument itself. I should say that it's prohibited to film inside the actual tomb, but I was able to film the whole of the outside, as you'll see, and there's a great life-size reproduction of the actual passage tomb in this exhibition, so that'll let you see what it's like inside the monument. But the multimedia aspect of the visit is really good, and anyone who regularly watches Naked Ireland videos will know that I'm not always keen on these sort of things, preferring the ancient monuments to speak for themselves, but this works. And it whets your appetite for the real thing, and of course it's not possible to see it from this perspective in real life, so I found this exhibition informative and really useful. I felt if I showed a bit of the animation here it would serve to show you what I'm talking about. Obviously this is a short excerpt, I don't want to reproduce all their lovely exhibit as part of my video. But it's well done, I hope you agree. The other 2 passage tombs here, by the way, are called Douth and Nouth, and as you can appreciate from this animation, there's a load of other prehistoric structures in the vicinity of the monuments too. Henges, burial mounds and standing stones. This area must once have been an important place for our ancestors. So onwards through the exhibition, and everything is so well presented. You can learn all about Stone Age life and get some idea who the people that built Newgrange might have been and what they got up to here. I think you could easily spend 45 minutes to an hour absorbing the exhibition space alone. It's not big, but it packs a lot in. I think on reflection, why this works where other multimedia exhibitions sometimes fail is that it's separate from the archaeological site and so it isn't in competition with it. It complements it. Now we arrive at the life-size model of the passage tomb. So getting into the tomb you have to bend, and the passage is kind of thin in places so that you brush against the stone on the way in. You need to watch your head in a few places too. And then the tomb opens out into a cruciform shape when you get to the back of the passage. The strip of light on the ground shows the effect that occurs on the winter solstice when light penetrates the tomb from the light window above the door. It's actually incredible, the Stone Age engineering and science that underpins this 5,200-year-old monument. So we're on our way to the bus stop now, which means crossing the Bóinne River. Very beautiful. And the shuttle bus takes probably 5 or 10 minutes to get to the site of the main monument. And there it is, Newgrange in all its prehistoric glory. And this is the incredible entrance to the tomb. And just above the doorway you can see the light box, as I think they call it, where the winter solstice rising sun enters the chamber to illuminate the passage. The large stones at the entrance have prehistoric carvings, as you can see. But there are other massive stones encircling the bottom of the entire mound. You have to wonder how Stone Age man was able to get these massive stones to the site and into position. This was even before the invention of the wheel, and there were apparently no horses in Ireland at this period. And this beautiful white quartz cobblestone came from the Wicklow Mountains, which is 90 kilometres south of here, and those granite boulders interspersed among the quartz came from the Mourne Mountains 95 kilometres to the north. So the stone is not only heavy, but sourced from what would have been in the Stone Age an unfathomable distance, and not even in the same place. It came from equally far north and south of here. In total, there are about 200,000 tonnes of material. Towards the back of the monument, we can see that the whole structure is covered in a mound of earth. Bones were found in the burial chamber, some of which were burnt, indicating that cremation would have taken place. Now, DNA testing has shown that some of the bones belong to a man whose parents were possibly brother and sister, and this kind of inbreeding is similar to the practice of Egyptian pharaohs to keep the bloodline pure, and it would indicate that this was a royal dynasty. You can see another example of the Neolithic artwork if we get up close to this stone. So all the evidence, the prestige of the burial site and the king-like breeding points to an elite or royal tomb. So what was this place made for? It was obviously a very important place when you consider how long it must have taken to construct. Opinions on that differ between 5 years and 30 years. So the suggested purpose of this place is that it possibly had religious significance, a place to worship the dead for an astronomically based faith, based on the presence of the light chamber and the significance of the winter solstice sunrise. We'll speed this film up a bit now in the interest of getting around the mound. By 2000 BC, this place was apparently not being used, although as late as between 320 and 337 AD, gold jewellery was deposited here, pendants, bracelets, rings and a necklace. Now these jewellery items are now held in the National Museum of Ireland and in the British Museum, so look out for them if you visit either of those. Now you might be thinking, why are they in the British Museum? Good question. Can we have them back, please? Now back in 1699, after the Williamite Wars, and remember this place is very close to the Battle of the Boyne, this area was settled by a Williamite named Charles Campbell, who had his farm labourers dig up stone from this mound, and that's when the entrance was rediscovered. Several antiquarians became interested in the site from this point, forming their own theories about what it was and how it came to be built, most of which were way off the mark. Interestingly, most thought that it couldn't have been built by people native to Ireland, believing instead that it was perhaps built by Vikings, ancient Egyptians, ancient Indians or Phoenicians. It wasn't until 1882 that Newgrange and its two nearby monuments came under state protection. Some conservation began to take place from 1890 as the site had deteriorated. In fact, people had actually carved graffiti in some of the stones in the tomb, which you'll see if you visit the chamber. But it was the Irish archaeologist Michael J. O'Kelly who undertook the first proper investigation and excavation of the site between 1962 and 1975. He was responsible for the rebuilding of the white quartz facade, and this work remains a bit controversial to this day for reasons that are outside the scope of this short video. But without doubt, O'Kelly's work is important to our understanding of this monument today, and the reconstruction work he undertook allows us to enjoy Newgrange as visitors. Can I ask you to like the video if it's been interesting or informative, and please subscribe to support the channel, hitting the bell icon as you do so. And if you really want to support Naked Ireland, you can buy me a pint. Donate by following the link in the second paragraph of the description beneath the video. It'll take you straight to the donation page. It's simple. And so now, having said that, let's just marvel at this incredible place and the amazing people that constructed it over 5,000 years ago.